You've got an asset, you've got an ally, you've got a secret, you don't even know about it. It's called your local economic development specialist. No matter where you're at, there's somebody around that is an economic development professional, or at least they have access to an economic development professional. Now you're telling me, of course, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a small business person, economic development comes second nature to me, but I want to introduce you today to somebody who can flesh out that picture and again, underscore the theme of today's NxBizSuccess show, which is you have resources you're not even aware that you have. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker, and I'm interviewing Mr. Kevin Wilkins. He's in the Fremont, Nebraska area.
Yes.
And Kevin, you do an outstanding job as an economic developer for that particular community. We couldn't have a better person kind of explain to us what in the world for the average small business person, maybe even the aspiring entrepreneur, why do we need to connect with an economic development professional in our community?
Well, then you kind of hit it on the head when you were you got a friend. It's like the Carole King song.
Yeah, yeah.
You got a friend. And that's what an economic development professional is there to do. They're there for you to come, seek them out, give them your ideas, bounce the ideas off of them. Economic development people don't like to see small businesses or any business fail.
Right.
We're all about your success.
Right.
They may tell you things that you're not going to like.
Yeah, well, and you know that's a sign of an honest, candid mentor feedback. We all know that we need that. The thing about that I think is so fascinating about what you and your profession does is that it establishes context. No business can survive in isolation. We need to have a sense of the context within which we're operating. Even if we're on the World Wide Web, there's a context there. So as a specialist in your particular community, you can help an entrepreneur understand what he or she is getting into and how people are around here. Is that correct?
We are not an expert in your business.
Yeah.
We're experts in business in general.
Yeah.
And we're somewhat geographic specific.
Yes.
You said there's an economic development professional. Not all communities have economic development.
Okay, all right.
Economic developers. But generally they're served within their region.
Yes.
If you're fortunate enough to have one in your community, then certainly take advantage of them. But you're right. Put things into context. Let's talk about a variety of issues that may be impacting you. Location, financing, how much income do you need to make? Let's talk about how this affects your personal life.
See, these are all things that you think of as a management consultant maybe, or some outside business development consultant bringing these things up. But it's so interesting that this economic development person, theoretically you in this case, is bringing up these questions, these very pertinent nuts and bolts business planning kinds of considerations.
If you don't plan, you plan to. No plan is the plan to fail.
That's right. We know the cliche.
Yeah. And what we do is we encourage some planning. We encourage that you don't make some common mistakes
right.
that a lot of small businesses make. Being underfunded, being undercapitalized going in on a shoestring. And the entrepreneurs make these mistakes, these classic mistakes that we try to help avoid.
And it's hard to believe that entrepreneurs make these same mistakes again and again. But for instance, in any community, let's say for instance somebody wants to be an insurance agent or open up a restaurant somewhere, you would be the kind of person that would be able to say, well, there's already plenty of restaurants in the east side of town, but on the west side of town where there's a lot of expansion going on, there are no restaurants in the niche that you're providing. Is that an example of something you would do?
It's an example, but probably not a very good example.
Okay, well give me a better example.
First of all, you're going to be very passionate about what you're going to do. So I'm going to slow you down. Say, well, wait a minute. I know you're passionate. Entrepreneurs, that's a characteristic of entrepreneurs, to be very passionate. So let's take a step back. Now, in terms of site,
yes,
we're going to be looking at breaking down what your business is and where should it be. Should it be where all the restaurants are because there's a built-in traffic there?
Critical mass, yeah.
Or should you go to an area that's underserved?
Yeah.
And we'll flesh all that out.
Mm-hmm. Good.
What's the traffic counts?
Yeah.
Your economic developer is a source of information. If you're going through your business plan and the business plan calls for a demographic question, call your economic developer. He can answer those demographics. He can answer traffic counts, or he or she can answer traffic counts.
Sure.
We generally have a somewhat of a handle on what real estate or property is available.
I was going to say, you probably know all the commercial real estate people in town, as well as the bankers, and all those people collaborate together to build developments or strip malls, and a lot of entrepreneurs, move into those bays and so on. Is that correct?
We are the interface.
Uh-huh.
We try to help pull
the
it
nexus,
all together.
so to speak, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
We try to help pull it all together for you.
Yeah.
And help take some of the legwork out in doing a good plan.
You know, it's interesting. I know a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people who want to own their own company someday. And when we talk about the steps required to get to that point and grow the business, whatever, hardly any of them bring up economic development resources. And they don't really think about calling those people. What's the issue with your profession? Why aren't they higher profile in the minds of aspiring entrepreneurs?
It's generally a stereotype that we're just out there knocking on the doors of heavy industry.
That's it.
That we're trying to attract into our community and throwing huge amounts of incentives at them to get them into
Tax
our community.
advantages and so on, yeah.
When in reality, 80% of what we do is retaining the business community that we have, working on the business climate within the community that we have,
Right.
and then somewhat working with entrepreneurial development.
You mentioned gap financing to me as we were thinking about doing our NxBizSuccess show here. Tell me a little bit about what role do you play in financing?
Generally, when you're putting together the business, there's going to be a certain amount of equity that you're going to put in.
Right.
There's going to be some conventional financing, and maybe your lender is not willing to loan you the full amount of what you need.
In which case you'd be up a creek.
There might be a 10 or 20% gap.
Okay.
That you either have to go out and find venture capital to fill that gap,
okay,
or we can generally have sources of money that come in behind the bank to fill that gap from between your equity and what the bank will loan you.
Now, would that be public funds or tax funds, or would that be wealthy philanthropists in the community?
It comes in the form of public funds, generally from USDA or EDA.
Okay.
It can come from block grant financing.
Okay.
There's a number of sources that we can plug into this. And some of it comes from local public funds.
Yeah. Usually not grants, though.
I know of very few grants.
Okay.
The guy who's on TV that's with the funny suit,
right,
he's just trying to sell you a book.
Okay. He's doing a good job, too, by the way. All right, well, Kevin Wilkins, who's associated with the Fremont, Nebraska community and economic development professional, I appreciate you helping, and I appreciate the fact that your breadth of resources and advice is probably much broader than most small businesses understand. And I appreciate you stepping up into our show here today. Any other final comments? I know you've seen a lot of businesses come and go. Suggestions for success, anything else that you can recap for us as we ease out of this particular valuable show?
Step back, do a business plan. Don't go into your business underfunded, and go into business because you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Follow your passion.
Follow your passion.
If you follow your passion, the money will come.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin Wilkins. And there's probably been no better advice that has been shared with us here on NxBizSuccess other than those last 4 points. But I would just want to superimpose or reinforce the importance of checking out your economic development professional in your community. They have access to resources you probably are not aware of, and they're eager. They have an enormous amount of consulting background and research experience in your local community. Take advantage of them and check us out again on the NxBizSuccess show. My name is Lynn Hinderrocker. Keep on going and keep on growing.